Hello again, I'm Walter Ledger, and welcome back. In our last video, we pulled back the curtain on blockchain technology, that ingenious system that's essentially like a super secure shared record book maintained by thousands of computers worldwide. We saw how it eliminates the need for trusted third parties and creates transparency with privacy. But I bet some of you are sitting there thinking, okay, Walter, that's all very interesting from a technical standpoint, but what do people actually do with this technology? And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. Because here's the thing, understanding the technology is one thing, but seeing how it's actually being used in the real world is what makes it click. Today we're going beyond the get-rich-quick headlines and looking at the practical applications that are already changing how people handle money, especially for folks like us who value reliability and real-world utility. Let's start with something that affects many of us directly: sending money internationally. Maybe you want to help your grandson who's studying abroad, or send a gift to relatives overseas. Here's the traditional way. You go to your bank or Western Union, fill out forms, pay anywhere from $25 to $50 in fees, wait 3 to 5 business days for the transfer to complete, and deal with unfavorable exchange rates. Plus, intermediary banks might take additional cuts along the way. With Bitcoin, that same $500 transfer typically costs a few dollars in fees and arrives in 10 to 60 minutes, regardless of whether you're sending it across the street or across the globe. Companies like Strike are now using Bitcoin's Lightning Network to enable near-instant, nearly free international transfers. It's like comparing sending a letter through the postal service versus sending an email. Now, this might not affect you directly, but it's worth understanding because it shows Bitcoin's broader impact. There are an estimated 1.7 billion adults worldwide who don't have access to traditional banking services. For them, all that's required to participate in the global economy is internet access and a smartphone. In parts of Africa, cryptocurrency adoption has grown rapidly because it allows people to bypass inefficient or inaccessible traditional financial systems. They can now engage in cross-border trade, receive remittances, and access savings options that were previously unavailable. This is particularly relevant if you remember the economic uncertainties of the past. In countries experiencing severe inflation, like Venezuela or Zimbabwe, some citizens have turned to Bitcoin to preserve their savings as their national currencies lose value. Think about it this way. If your country's currency was losing 50% of its value every year due to hyperinflation, having access to a global, inflation-resistant store of value could be a lifesaver. Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million coins makes it naturally resistant to the kind of money printing that causes inflation. Many people, including some major financial institutions, now view Bitcoin as digital gold, a hedge against inflation and currency devaluation. This isn't about day trading or getting rich quick, it's about portfolio diversification and long-term wealth preservation. Some financial analysts suggest allocating a small portion of your investment portfolio, maybe 1 to 5%, to Bitcoin as insurance against economic uncertainty. It's not about putting your life savings into cryptocurrency. It's about having a small allocation to something that's uncorrelated with traditional stocks and bonds. Hold on to your reading glasses, folks, because blockchain technology isn't just for buying digital coins and confusing your accountant. While you might think cryptocurrency is only good for making your tech-savvy nephew rich or poor, depending on the day, the underlying blockchain technology is quietly revolutionizing industries in ways that would make even the most practical among us take notice. From tracking your morning coffee beans from farm to cup, to ensuring those authentic luxury handbags are actually authentic, to creating tamper-proof voting systems that could finally put election conspiracy theories to rest, blockchain is solving real-world problems you probably didn't even know needed solving. Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of the digital age. Except instead of just opening wine bottles and fixing eyeglasses, it's transforming supply chains, healthcare records, and even how artists get paid for their work. Here are just a few of the applications it's being used for. Micropayments. Bitcoin enables tiny transactions that were previously impossible due to processing fees. Imagine paying a penny to read a single news article, or a few cents to use a public Wi-Fi hotspot for an hour. Supply chain tracking. Companies are using blockchain technology to track products from manufacturer to consumer, ensuring authentic goods and ethical sourcing. That organic coffee you buy might have its entire journey documented on a blockchain. Identity verification. Some systems are using blockchain for secure, portable digital identity. Imagine having a digital ID that you control rather than relying on government agencies or private companies. Remember when you had to go to a bank to transfer money between accounts? Bitcoin allows direct peer-to-peer transactions without needing permission from banks or payment processors. This can be valuable for legitimate transactions that traditional financial systems might block, like supporting certain charitable causes or making payments in regions where banking services are restricted. But what about daily purchases? You're right to ask about this. Bitcoin's volatility and transaction fees can make it impractical for buying your morning coffee. However, solutions like the Lightning Network are addressing these limitations by enabling faster, cheaper transactions while still leveraging Bitcoin's security. Some businesses are already accepting Bitcoin payments, from major retailers to local coffee shops. But for most day-to-day purchases, traditional payment methods still make more sense. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: Bitcoin as an investment. Yes, early investors who held Bitcoin have seen remarkable returns. If you had purchased $1,000 worth of Bitcoin in March 2013, it would have been worth over $1 million at Bitcoin's 2021 peak. But, and this is crucial, Bitcoin is extremely volatile. In 2021 alone, it started around $29,000, rose above $63,000, fell below $30,000, reached nearly $69,000, and ended around $47,000. These dramatic swings make it unsuitable as a stable store of value in the short term. If you're considering any involvement with cryptocurrency, here's some practical advice. Start small. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Many experts suggest starting with just 1 to 5% of your investment portfolio. Focus on established cryptocurrencies. Stick with Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum rather than chasing the latest trend. Prioritize security. Learn proper security practices before investing significant amounts. Stay informed. The regulatory landscape is evolving rapidly. What's legal and practical today might change tomorrow. I know some of you are thinking, Walter, this all sounds like a solution looking for a problem. And you might be right about some applications. Not every use case for cryptocurrency will prove valuable in the long run. But remember, we said the same things about the internet, email, and smartphones. Many revolutionary technologies start with limited practical applications and gradually find their place in our lives. Understanding these real-world applications helps explain why Bitcoin has survived every crash and continues to attract serious financial institutions. But if you're going to participate in this ecosystem, even in a small way, you need to understand how to do it safely. The applications we've discussed today show that cryptocurrency isn't just about speculation or getting rich quick. It's about creating new possibilities for how we store, transfer, and think about value in our digital world. Whether you choose to participate directly or simply want to understand what's happening around you, knowing these real-world applications helps you see cryptocurrency as more than just numbers on a screen. It's technology that's already changing how millions of people interact with money and value. Some of these applications might seem relevant to your life, others might not. That's perfectly fine. The key is understanding that this technology has moved beyond the experimental stage and is solving real problems for real people around the world. In our next video, we're going to tackle the practical side. How to buy your first Bitcoin without getting scammed or losing your shirt. We'll cover choosing reputable exchanges, setting up secure storage, and avoiding the common pitfalls that trip up newcomers.